The architects got in touch with us and asked us to put forward a sample for the Wakefield Cathedral project, which we did, and everyone seemed to like it, and we were awarded the contract. The original stone at the cathedral was a sandstone, and we're replacing it with a sandstone. We're supplying the paving for the internal part of the cathedral with the labyrinth pattern and a new font base and the pattern around the font, as well as the new steps. The quarry is over 100 years old. It was split up into smaller quarries originally until it became a one quarry. The stone on the hillside here is a hard York sandstone from the Carboniferous era, which is 350 million years old. The family has been quarrying for over 100 years. I'm now the 5th generation to take it on, and my son's starting a course in stonemasonry to take it on after me. We excavate the stone out of the ground and size it outside the building so that it's the correct size for the crane and it's cut to the correct dimension for the saws. We use water mainly to cool, well, for cooling the blades and for keeping the dust down. The stone has got a high quantity of silica in it, which is quite dangerous if it's breathed in, causes silicosis. So the water keeps the dust down and keeps the blades cool. The block of stone that you saw being moved into the shed started off weighing approximately 20 tonnes and was 5 metres in length. So we cut that into 3 pieces and we'll take it into the buildings and saw it up into smaller pieces, slab it up into the thickness required for the paving, and then the finished process it will go through a polishing machine to give it the honed finish.
They apply a series of different templates and apply the templates to the stone, mark them out, and then obviously shape them to the sizes and stuff like that. And we have this sort of pinkish, sort of reddish stone to mix into this labyrinth, you know, to intertwine with it all, sort of different colours. We're going to actually set it all out first, make sure everything's all in order, everything, all the pieces fit, because I mean there must be over 160 separate individual pieces to make up this 6-metre diameter labyrinth. So I mean there's tolerances of like 3 millimetres, which is very minute. So I mean if you only have to be slight couple of millimetres on each stone, and it all adds up, you see. So we've got to get it very, very, very precise. I like working with stone because it's very versatile. You know, you can do lots of things with it. I mean, the stone's actually, you know, millions of years old, and actually, you know, you're working with something that's very old, and yet, you know, it's going to be there for another hundreds of years after.
There's approximately 400 square metres. Celia is a local stone carver and has been buying stone off us for the last 20 years, and even working the stone up here on site. Pieces that are too big to actually get into her studio. So we've had a contact with her for a number of years now.
I became involved with Wakefield Cathedral because something very wonderful happened, which was being made a lay canon, which took me completely by surprise. And so therefore that drew me in to the life of the cathedral. Doing what I do, which is calligraphy and stone carving largely, means that I'm into the medieval. And indeed that was completely confirmed when we were taken in by the architect to see the space, which was then empty, and suddenly, bingo, this enormous medieval space, which is overwhelming and very moving somehow. I am to do 2 fairly small stone roundels to be dropped into the floor within the labyrinth, and they are of Hill House edge stone, and they will be surrounded by the red Lazenby, so you get the contrast between the two. And then there is this lettering for around the font, because the font is to have a new pedestal, for lack of another word, new base anyway, of Hill House Edge stone, and again bits let in, almost mosaic. And so there's a circle of Hill House Edge, and I am putting this lettering on, which is really purely factual. Renewed and rededicated in 2013, so on and so forth. So it's sort of telling you what and when. The durability and the power and the weight and the inflexibility, if you like, of the stone is sort of wonderful. Allied with it, the feeling that of a spirituality which kind of is imbibed in its bones.
Until 1500 or so, there were no pews in the nave. It was the sort of space that we're recreating. And so we wanted to create really something that goes back to the medieval days of this church, and that was an open nave that would be available for worship, for prayer, and also for the community.
Most of the floors being pointed up, so there's just this section down the middle here and the labyrinth and the steps from the tower. That's all got to be pointed. We then got to introduce all the furniture again, so the oak cabinets for the underfloor heating controls, all those things are added in. We've got the porch to put back in on the north wall, and we've got to complete the porch at the south end and a pair of doors on the south porch. We're going to leave a temporary screen 8 foot high, so the public won't see into the cathedral until it's open for the Easter service, and that's the intention.
It's been a challenge to keep going through the last year because, of course, obviously the first thing is we have only about a third of the space for worship that we would normally have. That's had both good and bad points. Lots of people have felt very happy about being a bit closer together, a bit greater sense of community. The big occasions have been a challenge, and some of the biggest occasions we haven't been able to do simply because we haven't been able to put the people in. Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. We've gained things, we've maybe gained a greater sense of working together and being together as a family. But of course we've also lost the flexibility of space that we've had in the past. And we're looking forward to getting back to having that flexibility without losing the sense of togetherness that we've also got.
We're being frozen stiff.
Oh yeah, it's been frozen, but it has been on. The truth is,
I think we've worked together really, really well. You know, talking to the site manager, giving our main worship times, certainly the 10:30 or the 12:30 Eucharist during the day, the work has actually ceased for that time, so that we had a quiet nave. In the mornings, work has carried on, but people have been really quite good and mindful of us. But certainly the personnel have been on site regularly. It's been a delight to work with.
The labyrinth was pieced together in the quarry initially, laid out, tweaked and what have you, so they made sure it worked. After they found out that it was all good, it was all palleted up accordingly and then shipped out to site, and it's went down really well, really well. I'm pleased with it.
It is such a wonderful way of exploring spirituality, of stilling the soul, of walking with God. Historically, of course, labyrinths and mazes have been around for centuries and millennia even, in all sorts of contexts. But in our Christian context, we are hoping to walk it in such ways that people will be somehow touched by God, touched by the divine, feel that that their souls are stilled.
And to actually see this last of the stones going down, it's a tremendously exciting thing. And the labyrinth itself, with that message, Jesus, the way, the truth and the life, will have a tremendous impact on people, I think, when they come into the cathedral.
So both the labyrinth and the font base as well have come out extremely well. And we're really, really, really pleased with that.
I mean, it just seems like yesterday that it was just an empty shell. I mean, that the floor level was about 4 foot lower than what it is just now, where it was just on a hardcore earth even, there's been an immense amount of work went in to below slab level is unreal. What with all the insulation, the limecrete, the underfloor heating, it's been a long process, and it's good to get to this phase where you can actually see the end in sight. It's good.
I think this space, first of all, will just have an incredible wow effect on people coming in, and I can just see it already pictured in my mind's eye, and it will be just a most beautiful, light, bright space, which still retains its mystery and its history. But I do think that, yes, it will be a sort of working together of the building speaking for itself, and of our use of it, that will make people hopefully fall in love with it over and over again, to fill it with life and with light and with hope.